It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to Crack Crown, Episode 2, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by Dot, Mark, Josh, Jason, and Bub. Hello, everybody. Welcome, and welcome back, Jason, to your second guest, well, technically your third guest slot episode.
That's true.
Sooner or later, you're just going to have to hire me full time.
As long as you bring your rates down, I mean, we can afford you if you just like $2 an hour. I need $2 an hour out of you, and it'll be fine.
Do you hear that, chat? Help us afford Jason Charles Miller.
Oh, dude, you're always welcome to keep playing with us, 100%.
Anytime,
like, you are... Bob is perfect with this coterie. He's just, like, amazing. So, yeah, we're going to get into episode 2 here in a minute. Before we do, as always, we got a billion things to announce. First off, if you're listening on podcast, I want to let you know we actually stream our recordings now. And if you want to watch earlier without the fancy editing, without any music or sound effects, you can come watch the game being played live on twitch.tv/podbynight on, it's a Tuesday. Tuesday's usually when we do it. Yeah,
every other Tuesday.
Yeah, every other Tuesday. I just show up when you tell me to show up. That's kind of how it works. The big reason that we're also excited for having a Twitch channel is because next month we will have a second show running here exclusively on the Twitch channel that will not be made a podcast. And that will be the third and final season of SOS, The Shadows of Sybil, our long-running game that we had been playing for a while, 2 seasons worth of shows that lasted like 2 years. And now we get to bring that story to a final close. We'll be streaming it here on Saturdays, starting sometime early December at 4 p.m. EST. It'll be 4 hours. The VOD will be immediately available afterwards to all subscribers of Pod by Night. But if you don't want to subscribe or, you can't afford it, it'll be live for free on youtube.com/roll for it, where the other 2 seasons can be found. So we just keep them all together, basically. That's really exciting stuff. And that's another reason we're really pumped to have this Twitch channel going. And then if you just want to directly support our show, patreon.com/podbynight. Dot just like really redid the whole thing. It looks great. All the rewards have been kind of shifted appropriately. And if you support us directly, it just helps us make more stuff. We want a new show coming. Werewolf is going to be out, not too long from now, and we'd love to get a campaign going with that. And with your support, we can do so. I think that's it, everybody. Oh, you know what I'm going to say too? If you guys enjoy the podcast, please leave us a review. 5 stars, whatever. That is massively helpful in the podcasting world. So please do rate us on whatever podcasting app you're listening to us on, because when we've hit the charts multiple times in like the top 100 gaming podcasts in the US, like in the top 50 of Canada multiple times. So like people are listening, and the more you review us, the more we'll show up in all those things, which just helps get new ears.
It's true.
Us.
We're on the very quick slide to 500,000 downloads, everybody.
That's awesome.
If we don't, and that's not including YouTube, that's just podcast downloads.
Yeah. YouTube is totally different to track. And so thank you guys. We're very grateful we've been able to tell vampire stories and continue to tell some cool World of Darkness stuff, again, as Hunter and Werewolf hit the scene. With that said, as everybody, did I miss anything, Don? Just double check with you. Everything good? All right. Then let's rein it in, set the scene, and see what our coterie is up to. The first thing we hear before any screen fades into any visual is a female voice saying, Adelaide. That's what I want. I want to be called Adelaide. And as that sentence falls upon our ears, we slowly fade into one of the gorgeous suites on the 3rd floor of this hotel, with the windows drawn. It is now early in the evening. And sitting on the bed, not covering who she is a kindred that looks very similar to Max. The long pointed ears, the disfigured skin, the sharp teeth that line her mouth, and an odor that seems to emanate from her at any given time. something that some Nosferatu suffer with. And sat there and standing next to her as she sat on the bed is Max, the only other person in the room that she's looking up to and smiling. Before you is what you've lovingly become, a person you've lovingly known as Stinky for quite a while. A name that was given to her by her sire forcibly for her unfortunate trait of carrying odor. And she smiles with her sharp teeth grinning as she says that to you, Max.
Max is standing there. Of course, this is in the hotel room, I assume, yes? Yeah. Max, of course, since we're in a relaxed setting, never passes up an opportunity to just be in his bathrobe. And he's standing there with a hotel tumbler that's filled with cold, congealed blood that he's drinking. It's like, Adelaide. Yeah. That's a good name.
I thought so too.
Adelaide.
Is there a comic book character with that name?
Jeez, Adelaide. Not off the top of my head, kid. My head's pretty crammed full of comic books, but you know what? Why don't you write your own story, huh?
She giggles to herself as her eye contact breaks and she looks down to the floor with a subtle shake of her head. So, Gary's gonna be dangerous, or?
Yeah, it's pretty bad from what I hear. And from what the prince said, you gotta come with.
I mean, I don't think I'd want to be here without you, so that's fine. Wherever you go, I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks to, your feeding habits, that's not really an option, is it?
She kind of shrugs her shoulders in almost reluctant acceptance of the statement.
Speaking of which, Max pulls out another of the hotel tumblers and cuts his wrist and puts some of his blood into the cup. There you go, kid.
As always, as you perform that act, she looks away and, fiddles with a comic nearby, pretending to read it as you finish. And as you hand it over, she reaches over and timidly sips and drinks it all down. As she hands the cup back, she just kind of nods, not looking at you as she does so, and says, yeah, thanks as always.
Max cuts open one of the blood bags that the prince has provided and pours it into his tumbler, probably a couple of tumblers.
You can hear it sloshing into the empty cup before that thick filling of liquid kind of fills the room.
And then he just downs them shot style, these couple of tumblers that he's filled, just to replenish the blood that he's given Adelaide, which is now her name.
And she her feet just barely don't reach the floor, and she kind of kicks them a little bit before she pulls them up onto the bed. You said we were leaving tonight, right? They're gonna come get us?
Yeah, from what I understand, transport's been arranged. And the prince, well, looks like he wants the job done. Laid out on the other bed are some of Max's weapons, and we see that his supply of Dragonfire shotgun shells has been replenished. And he's got basically full ammo for all his weapons. That was sort of the materials that he asked the prince for.
Out of curiosity on that, did anybody ask for anything in particular that they would want to write down that could be offered? Dragonfire rounds are a pricey ask, but one that he's happy to hand over in service to the Camarilla, as the retaking of Gary is dangerous and important. Does anybody else ask for anything?
Sean asked for a mobile phone.
Oh, no.
You are denied.
Actually, Max... Now, if I recall, Max has surrendered that old silver dagger to Duke. Did he not?
Yes. Actually, that I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the dagger is at the Chantry in New York. It was used as a tracking tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he sees if again he might as well, since the prince seems willing to bankroll him. He'll just say, just in case, some silver weaponry, if any is available.
And what will be provided would be a silver switch knife and a silver dagger, but not nearly the size of the one that you had, but not that it matters all that much. And the switchblade was retroactively remelded with silver. It looks a little bit shoddy, but it works.
Vera no longer has weapons. She was down to just the ice picks at
Yes, that's
the
right.
burned out club.
So knives,
So
a knife
I
replenishment.
guess a set of knives, might be good for Vera if she's got to do this job again.
And they are provided. Each knife is top quality, and on the blade itself, on each one, is emblazoned the symbol of the Camarilla.
Gaudy.
Does Bob want
no
anything
immediate
weapon? What was that, Duke?
Duke has no immediate asks.
Okay. Does Bob Kowalski have a preferred weapon that he likes to carry with him at any given time?
He's got these silver barbecue tongs that he likes to stab people with.
Fantastic.
A memory
no
of
gun?
a bygone era.
And you know something? Since Max just keeps getting what he asks for, he also like hands in. It's like schematics for. It's like drawn on like a dirty piece of paper, maybe even a napkin. It's basically just like silver brass knuckles.
We'll see if those get made for you in time. They didn't have any on hand.
Yeah, and then it has letters on it backwards,
Of
like they're a
course.
set, so one for each hand. And it's written backwards, but when he punches people, it would say "bad" with 2 D's and then "wolf."
God damn it. Of course it would. We'll see if we can get those made for you over the next few weeks.
Sure, I'll look forward to it.
Anything else?
Serious request. He's going to ask for the fanciest possible lockpick set he can.
You would be provided a relatively decent lockpick set. That would be,
I like it.
yeah, that's very useful and easily provided by the
D&E
way
is
of the
always useful.
Nosferatu. Okay, so everybody.
Vera has a very private ask that's going to probably take a hot minute to find, but she would like it delivered to Gary when it arrives. I will.
Would
send
you
it
like to
you
send
later,
me the
Mathis.
message, or would you like to say it out loud for the podcast?
I
Which
do
one?
not want to spoil it yet.
Okay,
but I
okay. So
will
send
send
it
it to you privately.
my way for sure. On that then, as we, everybody. No,
Sorry,
please.
one last request. Because, Max is just like, I need this, and I need this, and I need this. He provides, actually, this very beaten up little cooler that looks like it was probably just pulled out of a trash heap. But it's, it's functional. And he just asks for it to be filled with blood bags. He's like, I don't want to have to go breaking into hospitals in Gary before we got a foothold established there.
They will provide you with some. They will not fill it. How much can that carry? Have we made a decision on like how many bags you could stuff in that thing?
I don't know, because like this isn't a specific set
We'll say
cooler.
he
Like
gives
Max
you
had plenty of coolers.
5. He gives you 5 blood bags.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So on
Plus
that,
one axe.
yeah, and 1 axe. So we see Max and Adelaide having light conversation. She is thumbing through, and after having a drink, one of the comics that Max provides her, though most of the comics that he had are stored up right now, prepared for travel. But you have a few on you that you want to read over and over, and she's willing to read for the first time. But we'll pull through to a different room, one of the 3, where Vera and Duke are standing next together. Is Kowalski with you as well? Would you like to have Kowalski there out of curiosity? I'm asking actually Vera specifically. I know you won't. Does anybody want to have words with Kowalski?
I do want to have words with
But not with
Kowalski,
Duke in the room.
But maybe not until I cool off.
Okay, sure. So we'll start then with Vera and Duke. As it fades to another room, we see a Vera who's perhaps pacing rapidly from side to side. And
I'm feeling the biggest, hottest tub of hot water. Since this is his hotel, he can pay for it.
And-
I want every top-of-the-line bath salt. I've opened the bar. I've ordered room service for no reason other than to do it.
And Duke stands there, perhaps slightly close to as angry as she is, or at least frustrated, but he stands calmly, watching Vera be frantic and upset.
What is the likelihood that this room is bugged?
I would say it's quite high.
Then I shall use this cheesy notepad to write you a message, Duke.
If you're angry, Vera, it's fine. I am as well.
Oh, I can say out loud, I am angry. So if anybody's listening, they can hear it, but I scribble a note.
What is it you scribble onto the note and pass to Duke?
It simply says, I say we take Gary for ourselves.
Duke's eyebrows go up. Bold. Let's see what tomorrow brings. I'm not opposed to the idea.
Well, the last time I checked, Gary's still going to be in shambles, and it's still got no one to lead it.
This is the night after, by the way. I do want to make that very clear. I should have maybe made that clear up front.
Oh,
this
okay.
is what, because
We've been here a
Stinky is
day.
here, so I
Yeah.
shouldn't. Yeah, we're one day. late.
Adelaide,
Sorry,
please.
Adelaide. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote what I wrote, Duke.
I understand, Vera. Do you have any idea what the state of Gary, Indiana is like?
Well, it can't be worse than what we left.
Oh, no, it's about the same.
Perfect. So then we are fully equipped, and I've lived through worse.
What are your thoughts about living in a steel mill, rusted through?
I'm sorry, what?
Gary's not exactly a brilliant place. It's, to quote my father from when I was a child, you can polish a turd, but at the end of the day, it's still a turd.
That is very astute, though vile.
Yes.
Maybe. But Vera leans in a little closer as to maybe not be heard. You and I both know that any time a king sits a lord, the locals, they only ever really follow the lord.
You're not wrong.
There's power, no matter how shitty the town of Gary, Indiana is. Plus, I'm not very keen on him flipping around all your hard work.
I am rather upset about that. Offended. If I had feelings, I would say that they've been hurt.
Duke, your feelings hurt.
I know.
It's a new dawning of a new day.
What a time to be unalive.
Oh. Well, don't fret. You did all that paperwork. Not him. That means you know all the ins and outs. See, the tricky thing about a business, Duke, is you have to really want to run it. He claimed this place as a flip of his jacket. It was like pissing on our doorstep. He claimed his territory. But he doesn't really want it.
I wonder if he realizes the what he had said. There is some irony in the fact that he proclaimed Chicago to be the safest, most protected, and comfortable of the princedoms, and then immediately went on to say that it would crumble and be crippled by a few mere rumors, the host of terrorists. Safe.
Yes.
Not a word I would exactly use.
He also mentioned that this might change if we could get hard proof of the fact that we are, in fact, loyal to the Camarilla. I have been loyal to the Camarilla for 80 fucking years. And no matter how hard I worked, there still isn't a single track record of all that effort. None of our efforts.
I understand it. There's political red tape here. It's heavy. The thing is that we are moving from a significantly weakened structure, attempting to move into a larger place, claiming something of poignance, of point. And we have no gifts. We have nothing to offer other than history and reputation of a prince whose word cannot immediately be trusted. I understand. That doesn't mean that I like it.
You see, Jackson has done what every other prince in my life has done. Vera's good for one thing, killing. So put her to it, her and her coterie. But every one of those same princes also underestimated me. The last one, I had her body buried in a brick wall thanks to your help. And I say that just enough where if somebody's listening, they can hear that too.
Sure.
If we wanted, we could have done anything we wanted with her, to her. And in the end, we didn't. And what did all that loyalty get me? I'm a guest in my own hotel.
The prince
So
can't
Vera
not
Vol-
recognize the efforts that we put in, the negotiations and the paperwork, and the large influx of money. If it comes down to
Oh.
mere paperwork, I'll bury him in it.
See now, Duke, that's the spirit. I want this hotel to be such a problem for him that he doesn't even want it anymore. That it would be better to gift it to the lot of us than it would be to try to keep running it. So, I guess we're going to go to Gary, Indiana, and clean up his mess once again, rake it into a bucket, and bring it home. But when all is said and done, I would like everyone in Gary, Indiana, to want us to stay. Us to represent them to Prince Jackson. That is real power.
I have to admit, I'm eager to discover what puzzle lies in wait in Gary. We're being entrusted with a very large area under the canonical protection of Chicago. It's piqued my interest.
Well, he expects us to die, no doubt.
I don't think so.
It's easier to get us out of his hair than it is for him to accept the fact that we're going to live in his city.
In our private meeting, he brought up my sire, and though they are from different cities, Cesar carries quite a bit of weight. I do not believe that he expects us to die. Even recognize that I was a possession, which may harm others' personal opinion of themselves, but I'm still with eternal gratitude to Cesar for saving my life, giving me an opportunity.
Well, in the end, Jackson is still of Ventru, prince or not. He doesn't have a problem with you, Duke.
I recognize that. I must admit, though, I have some grievances. I am mostly sorry to Bob. Wish he could be here to hear that.
Bob, if you want, I'm curious, would you be eavesdropping nearby on the third floor?
No, he probably. I feel like Bob wouldn't. I feel like Bob would be checking the Chicago sports scores and trying to do whatever he could to not use a cell phone, but maybe like have a secret cell phone that just had sports apps on it.
Sure. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he absolutely does. Just because it's the law doesn't mean everybody obeys it.
Yeah. So he might be trying
so
to
he
watch
did not
a game
hear
or something. Nope.
He didn't hear.
Completely oblivious.
Go ahead, Duke. I apologize.
We carry with us a bit of weight and mess, and it's far more than political. We do have a trail of bodies, of which we can write off many of those. We can hide as many more and bury the others, but inevitably there is still proof of our existence. Bob's going to have his hands full.
Yes, I thought maybe after I cleaned up and had a hot bath at the expense of Jackson, I might go visit him. I had some questions.
The prince knows that Sean is, or was, a thin blood.
Well, if you let him keep his head, then you must have done some really good negotiating.
I just played the game, Vera. You know how it is.
Oh, don't I? For the game is just beginning, Duke.
You've had experience working with Ventru in the past.
Yes.
I am not what I would say is the antithesis there enough, but I'm not very good at maintaining some of the stereotypes of my own clan. Sean is going to need a bit more hand-holding, I'm afraid. Immediately, the prince called out the fact that he was not recognizing the palette of taste. That's my own shortcomings.
He claimed he wanted to drink a thin blood tonight, so I can't imagine why.
Well, you can understand. I may need some assistance in delving into the tropes there of Ventru, helping him understand a bit, weaving it into his natural demeanor.
I will do my best to teach him etiquette, but he has to want to learn it.
Well, I think Sean has an extreme desire to live or continue unliving, and
my bigger concern is what he's carried over from that in which he took it from.
I've only heard stories, but witnessing it in the graveyard, first-hand experiences, it was wild, quite interesting. Enjoyed it. Conundrum of sorts. It's going to get him into trouble.
Yes, trust me. I saw it for many years firsthand. Honestly, Duke, you would be more suited to teach the Vin way. You have a decent relationship with your sire. I can rightfully say mine is gone. Yee.
That's fair. You do have a bit of a new lease, even if our lease is tarnished, courtesy of the events.
Maybe. But a new lease on life means a new way. So if Jackson wants me to kill, fine. But I will take what is rightfully mine. And if Gary is out of his grasp at the moment, and he wants us to wrap our fingers around it, I'm very excited to see who will welcome old Vera Volkov, the unwanted Toreador, to the disgusting streets of Gary, Indiana.
Do you think I was out of line for asking for indemnity and immunity?
Out of line, no. It's a bit empathetic of you, though, Duke. It's not your usual MO.
Wistful eyes will find that Sean has a taint upon him.
Yes. We will need to deal with that when the time comes. But if you think that the kindred in Gary, Indiana are all clean of the diablerie, I imagine that is not the case.
The prince has agreed to look beyond this time, for the sake of Sean and our guaranteed success.
Then I suggest we let Sean know that what went down is not okay, so that maybe he doesn't request more Thin Bloods next time.
I think we should find him.
Well, you go find him. I have a little door knock with Bob.
And as those words fall from your lips and the camera zooms onto your face, Vera, we hard cut to your hand, knocking on a door. Bob, you got the TV on, newspaper laid out in front of you, catching up on the scores for the day as you rouse for your night. But all of that concentration is broken by a rhythmic rapping at your front door. You can hear the muffled television sportscasters on the other side, Vera. Looking around, and the door opens wide, and you can hear home run as Bob stands there in his usual attire.
Yeah!
Oh, I have a big smile on my face. I say, Bob Kowalski, Bobby baby. I thought maybe we could take a moment to have a chit chat before we leave for Gary, Indiana.
Maybe after the game, if that's okay.
Well, if it means anything, I'm not new to the art of baseball. Not entirely. I could watch it with you if it is not a hindrance.
You know what? Yeah, not so bad. This is a commercial on right now anyway. So, what do you want to know?
Yeah. Well, I was curious. Is it normal of Jackson to ask such task of kindred in his city?
Jackson, he's a hard one to figure out. He's tough. He is tough. I'll say that. He's a lot like the 85 Chicago Bears, you might say. 14-2, won the Super Bowl, but still got something to prove. So maybe he's more like the 86 Bears, you might say, like trying to get back up there again. Always just tough. Or, could be like the 2019 Chicago Cubs, the more I think about it. But hey, look, anyway, he's tough. But once you do this, I will say this. He's tough, but he's loyal. If you prove yourselves, you're going to be, you're going to be eating pork chops and pulled pork and tri-tip, whatever you want, bacon, for the rest of your lives, I'd say. The rest of your unlives.
Yeah. Well, doesn't that sound nice? Well, I too am much like these bears in that I'm trying to move forward in the next phase of our unlives. And Jackson seems to trust us to some degree.
I think
But you, on the other hand, you have trusted us since the beginning. So, Bob Kowalski, I would like for you to do your best to remind Jackson that we are in it to win it, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. I'll be sure to pass that along. Look, I don't know why he's sending me to Gary. Personally, I think, maybe he just gets annoyed with me sometimes. I mean, can we just, talk about the elephant in the room here? I'm not your average kindred, you might say.
Well, guess what? Neither am I. Some might say I'm, the scourge of the Toreador clan of New York City.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say you're a perfect model of a Toreador in my book.
Oh, well, coming from another strange Toreador, I take that as a compliment, Bob. That being said, since you understand the pains of being, outside of the social norms, I was hoping that you might tell me a little bit about the situation in Gary. I imagine that Jackson's going to give us the printed black and white, but you seem to have a little bit more in the know, if you know.
Imagine, like, the worst town you ever been to, right?
Yeah.
And now Gary's below that.
Right. So, I have lived in New York pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. It's, at least I just keep going. Just keep going down.
Well, what happened to the prince in Gary, Indiana?
Would I know?
They just went missing. They just went missing, and nobody knows what happened to him. And the same thing happened to the head of the Anarchs. There are rumors. I say beyond not knowing, beyond them just disappearing, the only rumors that might be trickling around is that the beckoning got them, which is the call that some elder kindred seem to feel or pull that pulls them to the Middle East. But that's rumor, and a lot of people don't even believe that's real.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really stake too much in rumors, only cold hard facts. So,
You really aren't a Toreador.
Some people say, the beckoning? They were beckoned, you might say. But, I don't take too much stock in that. I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong before. But I would say...
Could I get from you, Mr. Kowalski, a wits streetwise check? Dang, you got no successes. You can spend a willpower and re-roll 3 of those dice if you want. Your call.
Why not?
All right.
1 success.
With 1 success, the only rumor that you know coming out of Gary specifically, that you've gotten on the streets from the occasional person that seems to transient through, is that there seems to be some sort of coalition in Gary forming, a unified one, but it's in the very beginning stages of it, and you've only heard that whisper over the past couple of months. You don't know who, you don't know why, you don't know who's trying to bring them together, but beyond the fact that it's the worst town in the world and it's basically pure anarchy, somebody there seems to try and be bringing something together.
Now, I did hear one rumor that there might be some sort of coalition forming, which is extremely difficult to believe coming out of Gary, but maybe the prince wants you to squash it before it comes together. That could be his motivation here, but I'm not one to question the prince. Who am I?
Well, a coalition could be helpful or problematic depending on who and what they're rallying around.
Yep, and I ain't got no info on that.
It's good to know. One last question before I take to my hot bath upstairs. You have aspirations, Bob?
I do, actually.
Oh?
But,
we all have that little dream in the corner of our eye.
To be honest, I just don't know how it'd work out. Because my dream is to own a sports franchise. A Chicago sports franchise. But they'd have to reschedule the games. I couldn't go to any day games. For obvious reasons. But that's really my goal. As far as, within the kindred, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much. As you could probably tell, I still kind of linked to the past. That area just keeps pulling me back. So,
Well, who knows? Maybe that's for a good reason. We met you, and now our paths and aspirations may just be entangled.
well, we'll see how it goes.
Do we watch Bob, who started this conversation, relaxed? Does he remain that composure as Vera begins to prod at him in this way? Do we watch him?
No, he gets serious. He starts he starts to become a little self-reflective here. He's thinking about things that you feel that perhaps Bob's taken on this persona to push something else away for the first time.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. Looks like the commercial break is ending, and I dare not keep you from the fourth inning. I'm a bit of a baseball fan myself.
You sure you don't want to stay and watch?
Oh, a hot bath, and, I dare not waste Jackson's water, but I'll let you know a little secret from a girl who once dated a fan of baseball. Most baseball stadiums have an entryway underneath through the tunnels, and the box seats, they're black-tinted windows.
That's a good point.
I wonder if Gary has a baseball team.
There's almost like a weird.
Bob.
Bob does not reply to that. Just like no.
Vera keeps that deep inside now, and she says good night. As she kind of putters off, maybe grabs a bottle of champagne off somebody else's cart, and heads back to her room to drain all of the water that she wrecked.
Well, yeah, you need fresh water. You can't jump in. It's been sitting up there.
No, I think I'll just waste it. It's Jackson's water after all. And I just watch this full bathtub drain.
Now, as Vera walks away and we actually linger on Bob for a minute, we see him.
I really enjoy how petty that is.
I love it.
I've heard deliciously petty.
We watch Bob as the door shuts. Like I said, the camera lingers with him. He sits more straight up. A lot of his laissez-faire demeanor is still faded away. And an inquisitive look kind of crawls across his face as he moves his eyes from the door to the wall. But then we slow fade and cross fade into Duke opening the last of the doors, stepping in where Sean is. What would Sean be doing right now? This is the night you guys are supposed to get ready to leave, so I'm probably just waiting.
Sean's packing up a backpack with his shiny new tools. And probably wiping away a little bit of blood after he's been snacking.
So you hear the door open and quietly click shut behind you.
Oh, hey Duke.
Doesn't even turn around.
What's the rumpus?
Sean, well, that was simply a Max special. It's interesting to hear it coming from your lips.
Oh, well. We're all friends, aren't we?
Curious, what did the prince deliver to you as far as food is concerned?
Just a Normo. There's some fella in a fancy suit. Tasted pretty good. Not gonna lie.
We're going to Gary, and you will not need as much perfect composition of yourself, but word to the wise, it's always a bit more leaning to the cautious side when you express the kind of things that you like or you wish to imbibe.
No, I know. I've got to be more cautious. I've been trying. I really have.
I understand. I've been able to tell. I think the others have as well. I had a private chat, as I'm sure you know, with the prince.
Yeah.
And I had to explain a bit about what you are. He knows that you're not my child, but he knows that I'm taking you under my wing.
Good.
I had to explain that you were a thin blood, but you are no longer. And I bought you some time, reprieve from the watchful gaze of the Camarilla and the punishment that comes along with the diablerie.
Okay. well, thanks for that. I suppose I'm gonna need some lessons.
Right. I understand. And I wish to impart as much as I can upon you. Vera has also agreed to assist with that a little bit. I'll probably also approach Max about it. Well, Sean, there's no clever way of saying this. I'm not a very good Ventru, at least on paper.
Duke.
And if there was a clan for accountants, I would probably be of that clan, maybe even leading it.
Duke, I know exactly what you are. An accountant, sure, that's your day job. Well, ironic, but you know. I know what you are, Duke, and it's not an accountant. I know what all three of you are. And honestly, I don't think there could be anyone better to actually tell me what is gonna happen next. I never really cared. I never really wanted to know. Because, like, that shit's scary. But I think it's time. So, might as well take advantage. I mean, I've already learned so much. I'm making peace with it. So, we'll... Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that you can look beyond this and that you're growing. I think everyone can see that as well. I will let you know that going to Gary is, well, it's not ideal. Forgive me, I nearly lost my composure in the room. I'd spent many months detailing and planning things out.
Prince tells you what to do, you got to go do it, right? That's what's been happening for the last couple of decades, right? Since I've been around, at least. So
I don't know.
What's different this time?
True. It's. I will keep my personal opinions, honestly, away from this. I just think that it's a bit of a power play, and the prince chose his words carefully, almost too carefully. We moved from a failing city to a successful city who had nothing to offer other than a history, a reputation of that failing city, and a terrorist attack. He proclaimed about how successful his city was, how safe it was, and how, well, a bit of a reputation might taint that. Some rumors may bring it all down. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think he's just wanting to be gifted something more than he has. I'm sure there's more to it than that.
That's the same as the last one, right? All hail the king.
I don't think you understand the amount of work that I put into keeping Prince Panhard alive, Sean. I negotiated with the Chantry. They did bizarre Tremere magic, of which I don't even understand remotely, to keep it away from auspicious eyes. We broke many laws. We are, I don't know if you caught it or not, but we're currently being listed as terrorists.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings.
As I had just explained to Vera, if I had feelings, they would be hurt as well. But I digress. It's neither here nor there. We're moving to Gary, and I expect it to be, I forget my use of words here, a bit of a shit show.
I mean, criminality is what we do. So, I'm with you.
I think your talents will
Let's
be
get it
far more
done.
utilized in Gary than not, Sean. And I want to let you know that I wish to help you as much as I can. It will only guarantee our cohesive survival as a coterie, and I will be on the lookout for someone of your current clan so that they can teach you. But that you need to study the Venture way tightly.
All right. No, I got it. I'm on board. Ride or die.
Good. You have any questions? Anything that you're worried about?
Plenty, but we'll figure it out when we get there. Big question though, how do you spell it?
Gary?
No, the thing that you said I was.
I will have to reach out to someone a bit more informed. I think it's TZIM something. I'm not entirely certain. I've only heard it spoke many times and called something different every time. Zamichi, Zamitsi, Zimisi. It's always something different.
Right. All right. I think I might make up a new word for it, because that sucks.
Fair, I understand. The one thing that stood in common with those is that they're referred to frequently by an issue compulsion of theirs. They're called dragons.
I like that.
I'm not so sure about that. It's part of their problem. Like the Nosferatu, their clan issues arise a lot with their features. Right?
You calling me ugly?
You're not a Nosferatu. Dragons are, from what I've read, collectors. To a problem point, even. Just be careful of what you try to organize, Sean. Some things are beyond or even remote grasp.
Okay.
As that conversation seems to come to a uncomfortable end, there's a gentle, quiet rap at the door. Duke or Sean?
My room, I go and open the door.
As you open the door, there stands John, hunched ever so slightly, and as you open the door, he momentarily looks at you and then looks past you to Duke.
I'm not giving you more weed, old man.
Mr. Premind, it's time for your departure, as is yours, Sean.
Right. Cool.
Thank you, John.
I'll grab my stuff.
He shuffles away. You can hear his little shuffling footsteps on the rug as he's barely able to lift his legs high enough before Mr. Kowalski hears a similar rap on the door. As you open it to greet him, maybe the game is another ground hit happens in the background. There stands John in the doorway as you make him jump. I apologize for disturbing you, Mr. Kowalski. We are preparing to depart for Gary.
Now?
He simply nods.
All right. Just give me like 5 more minutes, okay?
John doesn't seem to care. Before he seems to take a step away, hesitates, looks back. Mr. Kowalski, may I ask who's winning?
Oh, you know the Cubs are winning.
John just nods and then turns and walks away to Vera's door. As that tub is filling up for a second time, just as it reaches the top again, you hear the knock. And as you walk over and open it with an elegant sway.
Walk over, and open the door. I have a letter for John. John, will you do me a favor? Well, I have the staff of this hotel load my many things into all of these cars. I'd like you to make this delivery. It's just up and around the corner.
Whatever you require, Miss Volkov.
You'll know the face, and I know you don't like him, but do us all a little favor and be polite.
He nods. Whatever my personal tastes for him matter not. He is loyal to you, Miss Volkov, and that is all I care.
He's more loyal now. She smiles.
He just simply reaches forward and takes a letter. And I imagine his name is written on the front in elegant writing.
Lyle.
And the camera sees that close up before it gets folded and placed in the inner pocket of his coat before he wanders off and shuffles away. Is Max anywhere in these rooms, or is he kind of wandering around?
I would think that he's probably still in the suite that he and Adelaide are sharing. Also, he would have made arrangements. I believe the prince said Kine were welcome to stay in Chicago. So I assume Sam and
if you want them to stay here, you basically,
in.
yes. If you want them to stay here, you have the option to leave them here, or you can take them with you. It's totally up to you. But as long as they are kind, they are welcome to stay in Chicago.
John is staying here, right?
John will not leave Vera's side. John will come to Gary.
So John will be following.
Okay.
But Vera's new ghoul will stay.
Yeah, Lyle is staying in Chicago.
Right. You know, I don't think Max would want them staying at the same hotel as Lyle. So they were actually being moved into like actual homes and whatnot. So like their new apartment, whatnot. Max would check in. He probably has been checking in just with Sam, making sure that he's all settled. And he's probably... when we discover him again, we note that his ratty old bathrobe is hanging up in the closet, and Max is now wearing a new bathrobe with the Blackstone Hotel logo on it, which he then packs up into his suitcase as he gets his outside clothes on and gears up. So yes, he's probably in the room when John comes by.
He would knock, and Max and... my young lady. He always refers to her as my young lady.
John, this here is Adelaide.
A beautiful name. Max and Adelaide. The cars are preparing for your journey to Gary.
All right. Thanks, John.
He nods and also shuts the door and shuffles off. He has a job to take care of now at the word of Vera. And we cut down to the bottom floor. First, I imagine Vera strolls out, all dressed and ready to go. Suitcases being carried by the employees of this hotel. Even one who has no suitcase to carry, but is simply carrying her purse because might as well use all the help that you can.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. I want all of them at my disposal. Every cart, everything.
You have 4 separate people following you, carrying varying amounts of luggage, and is slowly loaded up as you lead them over to one of the 2 dark SUV vehicles. As it gets loaded up, soon follows Mr. Kowalski, then Duke, and I imagine Sean right behind, and Max and Adelaide final. As you gather together.
Question.
Yeah, please.
Is Adelaide capable of moving while obfuscated?
No.
Then essentially Max carries her.
Okay. Oh, you keep her obfuscated. Fair. As you all gather up front, there's very little words unless there is anybody who has anything to say before that young man that Duke now knows as Damien strolls over to the group of you from down the sidewalk.
I think when we're all together, Max just does a sort of throat clear and like, okay, everybody, just wanted to let you know, this here's Adelaide. Everybody got that?
She just smiles and kind of waves.
How very vintage.
I like it.
That's a place in it.
Is it?
Yeah.
And yeah, well, it's also a person, all right?
Yeah. So, sorry.
She's not a Packers fan, though, right? Just making sure.
She just looks at you kind of with like a blank stare.
Yeah, she don't know what that is.
Good. I can tell her all about the Bears.
She
didn't they get beaten by the Dolphins the other day?
You see Bob.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Vera goes, wait, Adelaide. That's a German name, isn't it?
She just kind of smirks. Yeah, I guess it is.
I approve. Vera approves very much of the name.
Excellent. And as she's grinning and your casual conversation kind of continues, it is interrupted by a throat clear as Damien strolls up past everybody directly to Vera. He reaches into his jeans pocket, pulls out a piece of paper that is sealed with a wax seal of crossed scepters, and he hands it to you, a list of known trusted contacts from our prince.
Please make sure he knows how grateful we are for his quick turnaround on the matter.
He then reaches into, again, his back. He looks behind and kind of makes a gesture at one of the concierges of the hotel. And they scurry back inside for a moment. You see them head behind the desk. They bend over and pick something up and walk back out the double doors, standing next to Damien now with the suitcase. He hands the suitcase to Damien, and Damien hands the suitcase to you. It's, as Evira takes it, it's got a bit of heft to it. He, out of curiosity, it is a coded lock, but it is unlocked at the moment. Funds, as promised.
Do I need to know the code? I ask him.
It's what's on there. And as you look down, you see the 3 numbers in succession of 643. And he says, the funds as promised, in cash, untraceable bills.
Knowing what's in it now, I relock it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you kind of scroll through the numbers and it just randomizes.
I'll keep this with me up front.
He again just kind of simply nods. When you arrive in Gary, Indiana, there'll be somebody waiting for you. A man by the name of Eric Johnson. The once Prince's ghoul.
He's one hell of a guitar player, that Eric Johnson.
Damien doesn't look to you.
You can
nor
Google
say a
that
word.
later.
Cliffs of Dover for sure.
Well, it sounds like we have a contact and some funds, and we appreciate your help.
Just understand that this individual was Prince Modius's personal ghoul. He had been given a leave of vacation to take with relatives, and when he was gone, sometime during that, the prince went missing. Eric can take you to where the prince rested, rather. And that's been squatted on by criminals. Any other questions?
I look to the group.
No, I'm good. Let me hit him.
Our prince wishes you all good luck, as do I.
Thank you.
He just kind of turns and casually strolls off, putting his hands in his jeans pocket, and eventually turns a corner into an alleyway, and you lose sight of him.
When he is gone, I pass the money to Duke. Duke?
You were handed a hefty suitcase.
Maybe a good counting of the bills will make us all feel better on the way to Gary.
Understood.
You all pile into your vehicles then, and as the cars roar to life and roll down the concrete road, disappearing into the streetlights of the city, the camera simply lingers on the hotel. As it peers up, we see it at ground level, all 24 stories towering over us. And as we get that last view, we cut to black, and we'll be back next week when we see what exactly is going down in Indiana. Gary specifically. Goodbye.